Howdy y'all, Bearded Carpenter here. I'm getting ready to put the 8th round of logs up. This log that I'm leaning against is the seawall log. It will go over the top of the window. And there's something about when you cap over the windows and the doors, it just really begins to make the cabin look like a cabin. It just does something to it for me. When you put your header logs on that will be going over your window and door openings, it's always good to check your corners, the height that you have, the elevation. And you can see that I had laid this bottom part of the notch out, but I wrote me a note here to not cut it yet until I had checked the elevations, because sometimes you need to make a little bit of an adjustment on this bottom notch to make sure that your logs are back to level. And on this one I had to add about 1/4 of an inch to the bottom notch, and on the other end it was a 1/16. When you're setting your logs up and fitting, sometimes you'll lose a little elevation there, but you'll be back on the money if you'll check that with a water level or measure off your floor if you know that your floor is level. And I'll have this log back to where it needs to be as far as being level. I'm getting ready to cut the joist pockets for the 4 joists that I'll have for the second floor. And I made up a chart just like I did on the round 1 sill log layout for the floor joist pocket. There'll only be 4 of these, and I've got them numbered. Each of the joists are numbered. And this is going to be number 4, and I've got the widths and the heights written on my chart. And so when I'm laying the shoulders out, I can just work from these numbers right here on each one and get them laid out the way they need to be. Now, since I am trying to come up with a certain height on the top of the joist, I had actually measured up 2.5 inches from the center line, which would theoretically be a complete full 9-inch height joist. And what I did to make it easy for myself, I just took the 9 inches on my little steel ruler and I added 2.5 inches, which was 11.5, and I put the 11.5 on the center line, and I knew that I had my 9 inches. This joist number 4, where it will pocket into seawall, the height of it was 8 11/16. That's not 9 inches, but when you're planing and truing up timbers, sometimes you lose a little bit of the width and the height. And when I got that particular timber trued up, it was 8 11/16 in the height of it. So I put my steel ruler with 11.5 on the line, and I came up here and I marked 8 11/16, and I just moved down, put it back on 11.5, and marked 8 11/16. And then I just drew a line across there. In laying out these joists, this will all be exposed, and I've got this hang up about having everything symmetrical. I come up with approximately 20 inches in between each joist down through here. The outside edge of the last joist, which is number 4, is at 9 feet from the B-wall control, and I laid my square on the center line like I've showed you before, and I marked that 9 feet, and then I came back from that 9 feet, the width of the joist, which was 6 13/16, and I marked that, and then I could just lay my square back on the center line and get that mark transferred down to the bottom of the joist. I'm doing the same thing that I did on the sill log floor joist pockets. I've got my little steel square, and I'm just covering the line, and I've taken my utility knife and I've scored that. And I've scored it on the waist side. This will be what's cut out. And so I always put my straight edge that I'm going to use to score against, I put it right just covering the line and cut that. Do the same thing over here. Just covering the line and scoring that. And also on the bottom of what will be the bottom of the floor joist, just set it right across the line, just covering the line, just take my knife, just lightly score that across there. And when I cut this out, I'll have these score marks to work to. And also did the same thing. I measured down 3 1/4 of an inch on the depth of the pocket that will go into the log. I'm going 3 1/4 to give myself just a little bit of extra depth back here in case something is a little bit off when I set the joist in there, because these joists will be really tight on these shoulders when I put them in. And also, I'm going at a little bit of an angle. You can see I'm back just a little bit from where square off this line would be marked on the top of the log. I came back about 1/4 of an inch, so I'll actually be cutting a little bit of an angle. I'll plunge my saw in with a torpedo level set on it, and I can cut right along this line and then cut these 2 lines. Then I'll take my little carving bar and plunge down here and cut across there, and then I'll just be able to knock this piece right out and clean it up. I'm going to put a link up here where you can go to the video that shows how I do this on the seal logs for the first floor pockets, floor joist pockets. I'll be doing the exact same thing that I did on the floor joist for the first floor. The only difference is this is a bigger pocket. It's the same depth that I used on the round logs, but I've got my combination square set at 3 1/4, and I can just lay it up here and just work my way around and make sure that I've got this area here down to 3 1/4. And then when I clean this area up, I'll know that I'm square off the inside face and down to my line, and I can check that to make sure that I'm square from this point to the back side of the pocket. My friend Eric that came out with the stump grinder and took care of that stump for us, he's gotten into turning on turner lathe, and he made this for me and brought it to me. This is Osage orange. Some people call it bodark. Some people call it yellowwood. It's got a yellow color to it, but it's real dense and it's really hard, and it makes a really good mallet. Buddy, I sure appreciate this. I'm going to put it to use. Thank you very, very much. I've started putting in these short pieces here that go between the doorway and the window on the A wall. What I did, I just screwed a couple 1x4s on the outside just to where I can have something to lean these against when I pick them up and set them up here. And I've got my blocking in here on this one. And when I put this up here, I put my string back up on the center line, and I was able to adjust either end to where I had it lined up with the log. It would have been just like a full-length log that just been cut out. So everything is back right in line of where it would need to be. And so I've got a log here that I'm going to set up on top of this, and I've just got some temporary blocking in here just where I can get it up there and set it down. And I've got a couple slide bar clamps that I can hook onto the back side of these 1x4s and just hold it there so it won't, I don't think it would fall off just sitting on the blocking here, but just being on the safe side with it. And this log here has definitely got some weight to it. That clamp will keep it there and keep it from falling off until I get my string up here and get it where it's supposed to be on the center line. Well, I got these in good shape. I got the center lines on the string on all three of these. I hadn't taken this string down yet. And I've got the blocking in up above, which will support the header log so that I can go ahead and put the joist in. I didn't want to put them in until I had all the blocking in up there. But I'm in good shape now with this. I'll be able to move on, get the second floor in. Once I get this boom taken down and out of here, and I'll be able to set the floor joist with it, but then I'll have to disassemble it and take it out the door and get my floor in upstairs and build a smaller hoist to use up there. It'll have the same width base, but it won't have as long a boom because I won't be having to lift the logs as high off of the floor.